Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the April 2026 meeting of the Seminole County Board of Adjustment. For those of you who have not been to one of our meetings before, please give me a few minutes and I'll share with you our procedures, and then we'll get underway. As we move through the agenda, there are 9 things on the agenda tonight, and as we move through it, staff will introduce each item for consideration. If you would like to speak on an item and you are not the applicant, there's a form in the lobby, and we'd like you all to fill that out first, please, and hand it to the clerk. When we get to each item, the applicant and the applicant supporters will be heard first. Those in opposition to the request will be heard next. And if the situation calls for it, the applicant might have a chance at rebuttal. We ask that comments be limited just to what is under consideration at the meeting. We don't get into neighbor disputes or homeowners association disputes or aesthetic disputes or anything like that. And if you're an individual, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. If you're here on behalf of an organization, a real organization, you'll have 6 minutes to speak. When you come up, please identify yourself by name and address for the record. We ask everybody be given courteous attention, that everyone's nice to each other and we treat each other as we would like to be treated. Don't be surprised, we might ask questions of staff, of the applicant, of you. That's just part of the process. Any information that you share with us, we're going to hold on to it for the record. And so just don't be surprised if you've got digital items you want to share. Our camera can pick that up. We just ask after the meeting if you'd send a copy to staff to keep in the record. Once we have heard everything, the floor will be closed. We will consider the matter. I will ask the board for a motion. We will then vote on the motion, and that will be that on the item. If after the vote you disagree with how we've decided, you can appeal the matter to the Board of County Commissioners, and after the meeting tonight, if you have questions, staff can help you with that process. Having said that, number 1, please.
Good evening, Angie Gates. Item number 1 is a request for a rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 23 feet for a covered patio addition in the R1A Single Family Dwelling District and the Trailwood Estate subdivision located at 509 Grove Court. The proposed replacement of the covered patio will be 368 square feet and will encroach 7 feet into the required rear yard setback. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Is the applicant here? Yes, sir. Could you come on down, please? I don't know about the others, but I know I've got a question or two. Before that, while the gentleman's coming down, gentlemen, any questions for staff? I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. For the record, would you share with us your name and address?
Eddie Matos, 509 Grove Court, Altamont Spring, Florida, 32714.
Excellent. Before we ask a question, is there anything you'd like to add to what staff has shared?
No, I'm okay.
All right. Gentlemen, do you have questions? Judge? Just two quick questions. Looking at the aerial photographs, is what you're going to build going to go just exactly over what's there right now?
The insulation roof you're talking about?
Well, I think it's what's in our packet.
It's
at
on
least.
the patio. You can see the slab. If you go on the blueprint, you see the slab in the backyard. That is the area where I will to build the insulated roof.
Okay. Just because what's in our packet talks about a replacement, and we're just wondering if the size of what you have will just be the same size as what's there now.
Yeah, it's the same size.
Gotcha. And then lastly, for me at least, have you spoken to your neighbors about this?
No.
Okay. No. It's usually always just kind of a good neighbor policy to get their input
I'm
on
not
it.
in. It's too far, you know. All the neighbors in my area is like a good people, you know. Latin people like me. No problem. Like no problem, you know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, any questions?
Is there a patio covered now? Or are you building a new, is this brand new?
No, brand new.
But it is covering it's going to be in the same area as
The same area on the concrete slab.
But you're not tearing one down or adding to one. This is brand new.
Brand new, yeah.
Okay.
Brand new.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak in support of the matter? Seeing none, anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none. Gentlemen?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved from
Second.
Mr. Wright. We have a second from Judge Bravo. Any comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, sir, enjoy. Number 2, please.
Item number 2 is a request for an east side yard setback variance from 7.5 feet to 5.5 feet for an addition in the R1A Single Family Dwelling District and the Lake Markham Estates subdivision located at 8260 Via Bella Street. The proposed garage addition will be approximately 1,374 square feet and will encroach 2 feet to the required side yard setback. 6 signatures of support were received by adjacent neighbors. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Come on down. Mr. Miller. If you'd please introduce yourself by name and address for the record, sir.
Hello, gentlemen. Zachary Miller at 8241 Via Bonita. Josh is actually the applicant, but I prepared the drawings, so I figured I'd be able to answer the questions just a little bit more prudently.
Gotcha.
So,
Is there anything you'd like to add to what staff had said?
no, sir. Just, I will say, to fall on the sword a little bit, I prepared the drawings, and in preparing the drawings, I was replicating a survey. When the surveyor came out, we noticed that we had encroached a little bit on the side yard setback, so that's where this came from. This is not a reaction to any kind of code violation or anything like that. We're just trying to be proactive about it.
Appreciate that. Gentlemen, questions for the applicant? Judge?
No.
All right, easy enough. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Anyone in the audience to speak in support of the matter? Seeing none, anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none. Gentlemen?
Move to approve.
Motion approved by Mr.
Second.
Levant, second by Mr. Wright. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, enjoy. Number 3, please.
Good evening. For the record, Hillary Payton, Planning and Development. Item number 3 is a variance request for 125 Trinity Assembly Circle. The request is for a front yard setback variance from 10 feet to 7 feet for a sign at an existing church in the A5 zoning district. The request is to bring into compliance the construction of a 15-foot tall by 9 feet 10-inch wide monument sign encroaching 3 feet into the required 10-foot front yard setback. The sign, which fronts South County Road 419, was constructed in February of 2026 with an approved building permit, placing the sign 10 feet from the front property line. However, when it was constructed, it failed final inspection as it was constructed 7 feet from the front property line, resulting in the necessity of this variance. A community meeting was held on April 6, 2026. The meeting details have been included in the agenda package for your review. A letter of opposition has been received by a nearby property owner and provided to you on the dais for your consideration. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff?
I have one.
Mr. Wright?
Going on a limb here, but the sign was permitted before it went through Seminole County permitting,
Yes.
and it was set, I'm assuming when it was approved or going through permitting, that it was inside the correct setback?
Correct.
And it was just constructed incorrectly?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right, is the applicant here? I'll ask again, is the applicant here? The chair will entertain a motion to continue this to the bottom of the agenda. All right, we have a second?
Second.
All right, we'll move this to the bottom of the agenda. And let me make a note, because I have no memory as I'm getting older. Nods of assent around the board. All right, number 4, please.
Item number 4 is 2 variance requests for Lot 14 on North Ronald Reagan Boulevard.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bean, I'm sorry, just real quick, just for the record. Did anyone in staff hear anything from the applicant requesting a continuance or saying they might not make it?
No.
Good, no. I'm sorry, please go again, I'm sorry.
The requests are for a lot size variance from 1 acre to .288 of an acre and a lot width variance from 150 feet to 100 feet for a single-family home. The subject parcel was made up of 2 parcels, each parcels of record created prior to Seminole County subdivision regulations being adopted under common ownership with adjacent non-conforming lots. Per policy FLU 3.2 of the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan, they were combined. However, even with the combination of the lots, the lot size and lot width requirements for the A1 zoning district cannot be met to grant a building permit. 2 letters of opposition were received from nearby property owners and have been provided to you for your consideration. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is this applicant here? Yes, sir. Please come on down. And if you tell us, please, your name and address, sir.
Luis Anderson Zamora, 514 Harbor Winds Court, Winter Springs, Florida.
Thank you, sir. Anything you'd like to add to what staff had shared?
No, I didn't know there was an opposition. This is my first time. I'm representing the family selling the land, and we're going through our due diligence that to be able to tell prospective buyers that how a home can be built.
Got you. Gentlemen, questions for the applicant? Applicant's representative? No? All right, easy enough. Thank you, sir. Anyone in the audience to speak in support of the matter? Moving on to those folks who might be in opposition, I have two public comment record cards. First from Barry Thomas. Mr. Thomas, would you like to come down? Sure. All righty. And I've got your information on this, so you don't need to share it publicly unless you want to, but happy to hear your thoughts.
Well, I'm glad you took the time out of your busy schedules to come see our concerns, and we appreciate it. I'd like to start off with our road. We are a dirt road, very narrow dirt road. My concern is safety. As you can see on this picture, that's Ronald Reagan. And as we coming in to make that turn, we can see all the way back onto our road. That indicated us that we can get off the road. If we can't get off the road, we have to stop on that road. Now, if you build a house on that corner lot, we cannot, our visibility would be gone. The only time we'll be able to see is the vehicle at the road. So therefore, we have to stop. Now, you also picture this in mind, we have to make U-turns when we come out. And we all know that Ronald Reagan and how busy Ronald Reagan is. When we make that U-turn, we have to get on it, pull out in front of somebody, then we have to stop and turn. People blow horns at us, but what can we do? So by building this 2,400 square foot home, I don't know how it's even going to be able to do that. It's going to interfere with our site, our safety. And if we have a trailer, pulling a trailer or a boat or whatever, we have to get in the second lane to make that turn because it's only an 8-foot road. It's a dirt road. If you pull up pictures, you can see it. But you can see how our road is. See the road? You can barely see it when you see the lot. There's just no way that we'll be able to pull up on that road safely and people coming in. As we do now, as we coming in and out, we have to pull over somewhere on the road so that the people come by. Or we won't be able to do it. So there's certain sections of our road that we all know where they are. So we get to that section so the person that is coming can get by us and then we get back on there. So we don't have an entrance, a wide entrance. It's just a narrow road. And there's two cars, can't pull here, another one pull there. So you have to wait till that car gets out of the way, and then you pull in. By this building here, it's really going to be a safety. The entrance it's just no way. There's just no way that we'll be able to see in that lot. There you go. See, do you see our road right there? How skinny it is. Now, you put a house on that lot, we cannot see until we are out there on the road. And people that are coming in won't be able to make that turn. We have to stop on the road. And then we all know what go ahead.
No, just one more minute.
Okay. And we all know what Ronald Reagan's like. I mean, it's just getting more and more and more. The developing it in the back of us is getting more people. We got Flea World to deal with coming next. God knows what that's going to be like as far as traffic. I mean, city of Seminole has got a headache on their hands. And by doing this, putting that house there, it's going to cause us a lot of problems.
Gotcha.
And safety problems.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Gentlemen, any questions for Mr. Thomas?
No, thank you.
Come on, guys. Give me a question. Just one.
Well, I guess here's I'll ask this question. It's this is what's known as a parcel of record. And county attorney can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the property rights associated with this go back to the 1970s at least, when this lot was created. Is there a fair argument to say that those of y'all who are down that dirt road moved in after this lot was created and the property
No,
rights attached to it?
No, but see, that's my own problem.
Yeah.
The person that bought this lot knew it was Ag 1. They knew it, and now they want to change it.
No, sir. They're not, this is not a rezone.
Oh, okay. But, I mean, but even though when they bought it, they knew they couldn't build a house on it, because that was our interest going in. Without that interest going in, the state's going to have to do something. It's going to have to widen the road or give us another lane to turn to get off the road to turn in. And which they already done it with the house built down the road, because they were doing the same thing we were doing, so the city came in there and they widened the road up so they can turn. We don't have that option.
Gotcha.
I mean, our only option is just hoping somebody's not coming out when we're going in. And by that house there, we won't be able to see it, because as I'm turning in to my road, I can see a car coming, and he can see me turning, and he'll stop right there to let me go ahead and turn in. And then we'll adjust what we need to do to get by to each other. But I can't see anything until he comes right on that road. And then I'm coming into the road, and then I see him, he sees me, I can't do nothing. He can't go out, I can't go in. So we're stopped until somebody decides, and the traffic gets light enough to where he can shoot out. And we all know what Ronald Reagan's like.
I hear you. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Next
May I
person.
have one question? Sir.
Mr. Thomas? I'm sorry, one question.
You commented on the intention of the neighbor. How did you come by that information? Is this something that you're figuring, or did you actually?
No, I
I
believe.
didn't finish. Let me
Okay,
finish the
I'm sorry.
question, so you can answer me. Did you communicate with him, with somebody that conveyed those intentions to you so that you could address those to us today? Or is that something you're figuring?
Yes, sir. I have talked to, before they bought the property. I just happened to be out there on the road, and they were walking on the property, and their intention was to buy the property. And I informed them then, and this was way before, years before, that this is a private property. You would, have to come off Ronald Reagan. And so he knows that, the situation of that property before he bought it, but I guess he went ahead and bought it. So now he's trying to rezone it.
No, sir, that's not what's before us. This is not a rezoning.
Okay. But my issue is right is safety. That's my major issue
We
right now.
got you. And we have to move to the next person, but thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem.
The other form I have is Tracy Driscoll. Ms. Driscoll, we've got your name and address on the form, so you can just go ahead and share with us what you're thinking.
Yeah, so I agree with Barry completely on safety, but let's talk about, what is agricultural and what are the setbacks? You're asking to go from 100 feet to 150 feet. I mean, from 150 feet to 100 feet to go from an ag zone to that. Also, to change an ag zone from a full acre to a .2. I mean, property has zoning of ag because of what is in that area, surrounding area. But also, if we look at what the setbacks, which is required for an ag 1, there is a 50-foot setback for a side street, which that would be Thomas Stable. So you also would have to take in that 50 feet onto that 100 feet. Then if we look at a easement that has been continuously used for us to be able to enter and exit Thomas Stable Road in a safe manner, that has been there for over 30 years. It's very obvious. If you go out to the property, you can see that that is actually a pull-off area for all the traffic to go there. And it has not been asked for permission to use. It's always been there from day one, before the people even bought the property.
Okay. Is that everything?
That's it.
Gentlemen, any questions for this nice lady?
Would there be any difference if Thomas Stable Road was widened?
Actually, the property that they reside in, that property actually enters the middle of Thomas Stable Road if we look at property lines. So all of the owners of Thomas Stable Road own Thomas Stable Road itself. It's not a actual road. If we widen Thomas Stable Road, you would actually have to take another, to be able to pull the trailers on the boats that go down there on a regular basis, it would have to double in size.
But each segment of the road is owned by the property adjacent, one or adjacent to the road. So it would take all of them to have some consensus
Correct.
to be able to widen it. Gotcha, okay.
Gotcha. Ms. Driscoll, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Anyone else in the audience to speak in opposition? Gentlemen, before I ask your comments, I'm going to catch staff flat-footed and ask you all to comment for the audience's benefit on 2 points. And whoever answers, you're all wonderfully qualified. First, if you all could maybe explain to the audience how parcels of record work, and then 2, discuss how what we're describing is not a rezone, but how a parcel of record, a lot this old and of this size, is being kind of shoehorned into the modern land development code. And whichever of you all want to answer that is fine by me.
So the subdivision regulations for Seminole County was developed in July 28th of 1970. Lots that existed prior to this date are, I don't want to say grandfathered in, but essentially they're grandfathered in, right. At that time, zoning was assessed to each property, and this one was given an A1 zoning, as is the entire area. At the time that A1 zoning was assigned to this property, it was a much smaller size. A1, I don't recall off the top of my head, but it was like 20,000 square feet as opposed to being an actual full acre. So at the time, these lots, which were different back then before the right-of-way taking for Ronald Reagan, so it was a larger lot back then. But now, current zoning says that A1 is 1 full acre. And so these lots that are essentially grandfathered in and legal as they stand now do not conform to our current zoning regulations, which requires 1 acre and 150 feet of width. This is not a rezoning. This is solely for the lot not meeting the lot size and lot width for the A1 zoning district that it is.
Yeah, and I'll add into Nasa Borkert, Deputy County Attorney for the record. It's not a rezoning. It's a lot width and lot size. Many things have happened to this property over the years, as the years have progressed since the 1970s. But I will say that, their access point is not something that you all should consider, because I can't sit here and tell you if they have legal access to this private road that's adjacent, if the state's going to give them access off Ronald Reagan. All you're being asked to look at today is a variance for the lot width and the lot size requirements. As far as access, the applicant will be required to work that out whichever way they can. And I'm not ready to opine on that, nor do I think it's something that you all should take into consideration for your decision today.
That'll be at the building permit stage?
Yes.
And just to confirm, you did say this, it's a private road, not a public.
Whether it's,
Yeah.
they mentioned it was a private easement, and I don't know the status of that road, but the testimony today that we heard said that it was a private it said it was a dirt road, which leads me to believe it's probably not maintained by the county. We don't typically maintain dirt roads. But that is something that they'll have to be able to show when they come in for a building permit, that if they can get legal access off Ronald Reagan through FDOT, they may have some type of vested right there. I don't know. I don't know any of those things, but for your purposes today, it's just asking the question, hey, this is a lot, and if they were to develop in the future and they can show all these other things that they have to show, this would at least check the box for the lot width and the lot size.
Perfect, thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff?
I have one.
Yes, sir, Mr. Wright?
Can we pull up the picture that's got the aerial on it? It's got both. There you go. The lot adjacent has a residence on it. It's got the 17 circle on it. Is that also part of this Was this zoned A1 as well?
Yes, it's zoned A1 as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you all. That's very helpful. So, how about, why don't we do this? The Chair will entertain a motion and a second, and then we can have a conversation.
Move to deny.
Moved and denied from Judge Bravo. Is there a second? Fails for lack of a second. The Chair will entertain a second motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Levant has a second. Mr. Wright, your motion, you can start. If you want to.
Yeah, no, my opinion here is, again, I'm not looking at where the access is, as the county attorney has advised us. I'm looking at the lot next to it. It's in the same zoning. It's similar. It's unfortunate that it doesn't meet the criteria that it's currently zoned under, but I still believe that it's a, legal lot, and it has a right to be developed, and we can't limit what the development is, but we can go ahead and move forward with allowing at least the progress to start, where they provide access. That's another aspect of the county department, so.
Mr. Levant, any thoughts?
Yes, I share the same opinions. My only question of concern was dealing with the access, but listening to our county attorney, we can't take that in, as well as staff has stated and met all the findings for the criteria. So.
Judge, your thoughts? Okay. I think just the thought I would share is I appreciate what these folks are saying, but I think in fairness to the facts on the ground and the applicant, they bought their property subject to the law, just as this person bought their property subject to the law, and I think those property rights have not been impeded, and I think we're in agreement that what we're doing does not mean that any building will be permitted once they start that process. And I would say if this is approved, those in opposition, eagle eye on this as time goes on. So with that, I'll call the vote. We have a motion to approve. We have a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed.
Passes. And just so the folks in the audience know the way the rules work, if someone doesn't say something audibly, it's considered voting in favor of it. So it is passed with Judge Bravo being the sole no vote. Again, if folks are in opposition to this would like to appeal, you can do that to the county commission. Staff can tell you about that process afterwards. Number 5, please.
Item number 5 is a variance request for 1312 via Villanova Wave, located in the Sunrise subdivision. The request is for a rear yard setback variance from 25 feet to 8 feet for a shed in the Sunrise plan development. The request is to bring into compliance the construction of a 330-square-foot shed encroaching 17 feet into the required 25-foot rear yard setback. A code enforcement violation, number 26-131, was issued for this structure, which was constructed in 2017, resulting in the necessity of this variance. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff?
Just minor thing here, but the exhibit that we have on, again, my page 87, shows the location being,
Site plan.
the site plan being parallel with this big red box that we have there. Go back up one more. Keep going, right there.
There we go.
That orientation is just graphic, right? I mean, the picture shows it going the opposite direction, more parallel with the backyard.
They're moving it into this location,
They're-
is my understanding.
Okay. So what we see on the aerial in our exhibit is what's parallel to the rear yard is going to be switched 90 degrees, parallel with the side yard? Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions for staff? Is the applicant here?
Yes, sir.
Please come on down.
May I approach? I have some drawings.
To the clerk, please. If you'd share with us your name and address, please.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Lady Juarez, and I live in 1312 Via Villanova Way, Winter Springs.
Please.
Okay. I'm here to request a rear setback variance for a consolidation project at 1312 Via Villanova Way. I currently have two separate sheds in my backyard. One of that was there when I bought the house in 2016, and the other one I built like 2 months later. I recently learned that these structures are not compliant because they sit only 4 feet from the property line, encroaching on the county's utility easement. I'm here today to fix that. Instead of keeping these non-compliant units, I'm proposing to demolish the 10 by 10 and relocate the 12.7 by 26 shed to the east side of my property. Most importantly, I am committed to moving the new building to a 8-foot setback if it's approved. This will bring the property out of the easement entirely and respect the county access rights. This building is an absolute necessity for my family. I do not have a garage, and it secures the construction tools for my husband that he uses daily to provide for us. Because our lot is only 0.20 acres, a standard 20-foot setback will force this building into the center of my yard, creating a safety hazard and blocking our driveway. By granting this variance, you allow us to clean up the property, respect the utility easements, and protect our livelihood. The new design even features a lower 8-foot rear wall to be more neighborhood-friendly. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for the applicant? Ms. Juarez, just a quick question. Have you chatted with your neighbors about this?
Actually, I have spoken with several of my neighbors, and they have no objections about, my plan.
Like maybe the ones next door and behind you?
Yes, exactly.
They're both okay with it?
I haven't spoken to the one on my east side, but for the rest, even the ones across the street, like the north side, I'll say, the south side, and they're perfectly fine.
How about behind you on the north side?
They're fine too.
Gotcha. Last call. Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in support of the matter? Seeing none, I do have a few comment sheets. I've got 3 comment sheets of folks wanting to speak in opposition. I'll call first Doris Hoffman. And we've got your information on the form. If you just go and share with us what you would like.
Okay, I don't have any high-tech pictures, so I just made some copies. Is that okay?
Sure, just
all of you?
the clerk can help you with the camera picking them up and putting them on the screen.
There's a packet of pictures for each person. So you know my name and address. I live right behind Ms. Juarez's house and her lot, and she has never spoken to me, and I've never been in support of it. I was actually on vacation and got home and got the letter from Seminole County regarding this hearing and the request for a variance, so I was surprised when she said that. They are requesting a variance for what they say is a limited buildable area due to the setback requirements, noting that their house takes up a significant portion of the buildable area once the setback requirements are applied. They wish to build a, quote, modest-sized storage unit to make reasonable, quote, reasonable use of the property, consistent in scale with other accessory structures common in our neighborhood. That's in their packet, so you must have that. I am respectfully speaking in opposition to this request for several reasons. First, a 12 by 7 by 26 foot storage shed is not modest, and a shed of that size is not common in our neighborhood. Also, most of the lots are similar size, 1/5 of an acre, 1/4 of an acre. Secondly, they maintain that the pre-existing configuration of the lot size and placement of the house prevent them from erecting the structure. However, the property was initially built with a garage, and that space was converted to living space. The resulting loss of garage space, which could be used for storage, was known to them when they purchased the house and is not a unique physical condition of the land nor a legal hardship. Third, the disclosure on the application is complete, and this is the 8x10 picture I gave you. It's an aerial shot. And what I did was I just circled some of the structures so we know what we're talking about. And if I was more savvy, I could do a slide, but I'm not. So the disclosure on the application is complete. Number one, the one I've labeled number one, that was a wood structure and it was a gazebo. But since then, they clad it with metal roofing, making it a storage structure. Number two, the picture on number two, they have erected an open roofed structure. I think the estimate is probably about 25-foot length and maybe 12-foot wide. I can't tell from my backyard. But I did had some pictures that you might see it behind the shed on the pictures I made. The number three on that diagram is an existing storage structure approximately 25 by 12 feet, and I believe this is the one they're going to tear down and turn around in a different configuration. And number one and three, as they are right now, are about 1 foot from my fence, and number three contains a downspout draining very close to my fence. Fourth, their application states, confirmed by the pictures they provided in their packet, that the contents of the structure and that provided the contents of the structure, and that the structure is intended to store construction tools and equipment used for work. So therefore, I request the board deny the variance request, or at the very least defer until full site conditions are verified, and also clarification of compliance with the deed restrictions, including any limitations of size and height of the structure, as well as any issues running a commercial business from a residence, which might be something you need to look into, or zoning needs to look into. Thank you.
Gentlemen, any questions for Ms. Hoffman? One quick one, and this might not be a fair question to ask because you might not have the information handy. Do you know how tall your rear fence is?
6 foot.
It is a
Typical
6-foot fence?
Yeah. So the houses are probably, the gazebo and the structure are probably 8 foot or more. I really can't tell.
Gotcha. Thank you, ma'am.
But they're clearly seen if you look at the pictures. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So the fence we're looking at in this picture is 6 feet.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who's taller?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
The next form I have is Vincent Ford. Evening, sir.
Good evening. I apologize, I'm not used to talking in front of councils, but good evening. My name is Vincent Ford. I live in 1316, which is the property parallel to 13112. Lived there my whole life.
To the left or the right?
To the, if you're looking at the property, to
Like
the
on
right.
that one?
Yes, to the right.
Gotcha.
Lived there for 35 years. So we've always lived in accordance to HOA laws. We've wanted to enact structures ourselves and, have been denied by HOA before. So to see two large structures being constructed within a matter of a couple years was kind of a surprise to us. But in getting back to the topic of what we're here about, it was the buffer zones. So I'm not a engineer or anything like that, so I'm not going to stand here and pretend like I am, but I imagine that the buffer zones are there for a reason. They are law. They exist to protect neighboring properties and preserve privacy and maintain safety. So I don't understand why we should allow one property to have special rights above others. They claim unnecessary hardship. I understand they don't have a garage, but when they bought the property, they were well informed on that. They were well informed on the size of their lot and, any hardship they might acquire by buying the property, but they went ahead and bought that property. So in order to ease their hardship, they've been enacting these structures, one of which has already been denied by code due to its arrangement in their lot. But for me, they already have a 25-foot trailer, roughly the same size as the structure that they already intend on moving. So in order, we've already gone through HOA and had the trailer, removed that they used to park nightly in their grass, in their driveway, and in HOA law, it's not allowed. So I don't understand why they can't move these construction equipment to their trailer and park that where they need to. Going back to their equipment, this is a residential lot. This is not a commercial lot. Running a business out of your private residence seems unnecessary to me when there's plenty of other options available. Storage units, other properties that they can go look at themselves and, hopefully buy a bigger lot. Their hardships are now becoming our hardships. So, I don't have much more to say on that other than, what we're here for is discussing the buffer zones, and it's not, the buffer zone doesn't affect me directly because I'm the parallel unit, but if we allow this special case to go forward, then what is stopping other neighbors from doing that to us, to other neighbors, in Seminole County? So if we allow one, then why not allow the rest?
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, questions for Mr. Ford? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
if you don't mind me just interjecting here, just to put on the record. And you probably all already know this, but maybe about 5 years ago, the state took away the county's rights to regulate home-based businesses. So now you can operate a home-based business out of your property. There's a few limited regulations to that in the state statute, but generally, residential property owners are allowed by right to operate home-based businesses out of their properties.
Didn't they also change the law to prohibit HOAs from prohibiting residents parking their work vehicles?
So I don't know about that one.
That one passed also.
That's a HOA law, I'm not versed in that because it's not my realm of specialty, but I will say that as far as a home-based business goes, there's nothing illegal about that, about operating one out of your residence now. You can do that, so.
Yeah, our dear legislature has been addicted to preemption for sure here lately. But that's another subject. Our last comment in opposition, I have Ed Hoffman, please.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
My name is Ed Hoffman. I reside at 1361 Corte Nueva, directly behind Lady and Tobias. I would also like to request a deferral of the approval and additional review of this project for the following reasons. The community is a planned development, which implies a consistent design standard and the number and size of storage units already on the property and the new 12 by 24 unit are not common or typical in the community. And it may be counter to the planning intent. Now, I will need some clarification on this because I thought Lady had said she was demolishing the 8 by 8 shed to relocate the new trailer, or is it the longer 25-foot shed?
I'm sorry, sir, but we can't have that conversation now.
Okay, I just I was not clear as to what she was demolishing.
I put up the site plan for you if you'd like to look at it.
Okay. The square in the center of the property is a gazebo that has been converted into storage. And I believe that's the one she said, made comment on, that that's the one she was going to demolish. And if that's the case, then I don't know where you're going to be able to relocate another 25-foot trailer, another 25-foot storage unit, and leave the other 25-foot storage unit there. So I'm not too clear on that.
We will, just, I'll allow her to say a few things in rebuttal, and we'll get that cleared up.
Yes. All right. So anyway, if we do wind up with two sheds over there, and they're joined in some way, it's grossly exceeding what would be the standard for something like that in a backyard neighborhood. All right. So I would also ask the board if drainage and runoff has been evaluated, as the existing 25-foot structure has already the roof drains onto my back fence. So if those two things have been corrected or considered, then I didn't know about it. My other comment would be, Lady and North Tobias have talked to me at all about the proposed project. So given these concerns, I would request further review before approval. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Any questions for Mr. Hoffman? Thank you, sir.
Were you there?
Oh, take that back, Judge.
Now, were you there when they acquired the property? How long have you lived adjacent?
We've been there 30 years.
Okay. And these buildings that are on the property have been added by them subsequent to their moving on the property?
One structure has been added by them, and one structure existed. The little 8x8 gazebo existed when they bought it.
The gazebo, yes. Which you say they're not going to remove?
I don't know if they're...
Oh, I thought I heard you say that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know which structure is being demolished.
All right. Well, we'll ask the applicant back up, and we'll get that straightened out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience to speak in opposition to the matter? Seeing none, I'll ask the applicant, please come back up and share any thoughts you might have, having heard that. But I would appreciate it if you could address, just to clarify, what will be demolished and what will be moved.
Yes, my apologies. When I meant the people in the back, is like, I have more people in the back. And yeah, the 8x10 is going to be demolished. And, in order for me to conserve all the tools, the necessary tools that I need, or that my husband needs for work, is going to be placed in the 12.7 by 26. Yes. And then I could make different ones according to, like the law or, whatever is approved. But I feel like if I make it a little bigger, it will, meet all my needs instead of putting like one little here, one little there. I don't know. But like, it's up to the board to decide. I'm just here to present my case, but it's totally up to you what you. Like I said, he also asked, one of the neighbors asked what is going to be with the gravel and all the stuff. And I sent, I gave you the papers that is going to be addressed and up to code if the variance is, approved, of course. But we're willing to, work with the neighbors to also accommodate the neighbors for them to be okay. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody in my neighborhood. I'm just, like I said, I didn't know about this. I just learned, and I'm, proceeding to fix it.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for the applicant?
Yeah, sir.
Mr. Wright?
Question. Based on our last speaker, to clearly define what your project limits are, on that picture behind you, the 8x10 structure is going to be removed.
Right.
The existing structure that was in code compliance was the large structure that was parallel in the pictures to the rear property.
Right.
That is not staying.
It's going to be...
You're moving that.
Moving vertically.
Correct. So I just want, because I know they were questioning, thinking there was going to be two buildings based on what
Yeah, no.
interpreted now.
Yeah.
It's just you're moving the long building and you're requesting the variance to be 8 feet from the rear property line.
Right. I could cut it in half and, have 2 and 2. I mean, no problem.
No, I think there was, I just want, my understanding when I was
Yeah, yeah.
listening to the,
Yeah, I
speaker,
understand.
that he thought there might be two buildings there, of relative size like that, so. Both buildings that are currently along their property line are being removed. One of them, the larger one, is being relocated.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to also clarify, just to make sure, that this variance would only be for this structure. It could not be any larger. It would not pertain to, 15 other sheds along that same 8-foot. That would strictly be for this structure only.
And,
Mr. Chair.
yes, sir, Mr. Wright.
And again, item before us, it's a rear yard setback request down to 8 feet. There is no side yard setback. The side yard
No, she meets it on the side.
is in compliance.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Payton, refresh my memory, what are the height limits for sheds?
It would be the height of the house.
Okay, so certainly more than 6 feet. Gotcha. Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any other questions for staff before I ask for a motion? I think I'll, and much like we had done earlier, I'll ask for a motion and then we can chat about it. So is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, Mr. Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Judge Bravo. Mr. Wright, your motion, you have any thoughts you want to share?
No, I mean, this is a code violation. We're taking care of a couple items, and the applicant is asking for a variance of 8 feet from our rear setback requirement, which is typically, the building line, 25 feet. So I don't see any issues that cause me pause, so.
Judge, you seconded. Anything you want to add? No. Okay. Mr. Levant, anything you want to add? I think just my thoughts on this would be, and I would vote against it, and I think you guys have heard me speak like this before in the past, that if we use the land development code as a metaphor for, say, rules of a board game, and if a bunch of neighbors are coming together to play a game, you don't change the rules unless everybody comes together and says, yeah, okay, that's fine. If we're playing Monopoly, we all agree we're going to take money and put in the middle. If you land on free parking, whoever lands in that gets it. There's a consensus out there. Otherwise, the rules of the game stand. And what I'm hearing is the directly affected neighbors, they want the rules, they want the land development code as it is enforced. And I tend to think that people who have property rights have the right to expect them to be enforced. And I certainly have respect for the applicant. I certainly have great respect for entrepreneurs. But that's just my thinking on that. And unless anyone else wants to share something, I'll call the vote.
The clarity for me is that I understand we have two direct neighbors that are affected by this. That's why I asked about the side yard setback.
Mm-hmm.
It has no impact on the side yard, the neighbor to the right.
Mm-hmm.
The rear has been affected. Obviously, we've seen their pictures. Now, the advantage here is that instead of being, whatever that is, a foot, 2 feet off the rear property line, now it's 8 feet, and it's turned so that there's less of an impact. So in this case, I understand there's still a question, but it also is the applicant's right, and through our land development code, that they have this process, that they can request a variance, because some things don't fit.
So you want to rock, paper, scissors for it? Or
No, I do not,
Okay.
but I'm just
Fair enough.
giving you some debate.
Fair enough, absolutely. So I'll go ahead and call the vote then. Those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes? Oh, no, we have a 2-2. Motion fails. So that means the application fails, correct?
Well, we can request a new motion.
Yes.
That's true.
You can do that.
Is there a new motion? Chair will entertain a new motion. There is none.
I will reiterate my motion to approve, for the failure of the fact that we don't have a motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
And second from Mr. Levant this time. I'll call the vote. Those in favor of motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Hey,
I think it fails for lack of a motion. Am I reading the rules of procedure correctly?
Well, yeah.
We can, well, I mean, again, I'm sorry, I interrupted, whoever spoke.
So
Obviously,
absent a motion approving it, it fails.
We can entertain a motion to continue, to a future meeting when maybe there's more people here to give counter, but the motion fails, the applicant has to come back at some point.
Is that a motion you'd like to make?
Well, are we discussing? Is that a fair statement?
So, yes, a number of things can happen. So this could be tabled to a meeting in the future, just put a pin in it, and it's essentially suspended. It's likened to a continuance, or basically the same thing. The other thing is, if you think there is more discussion, I'll just remind the board that you can always condition things, right? You don't have to go with the only condition that staff recommends. There's a number of things that can be conditioned that if you think would make the impact of what they're requesting less, you can put those conditions in place and approve the variance. For example, and I'm just giving you examples because way back when in another lifetime, I was a land use hearing officer and heard variance cases all the time. Many times when there was a shed or something like that was closer to the property line, you could make a condition that all runoff or gutter structures are faced internal to the property, so there's no overflow to the adjacent property. You can condition things on, buffering. You can say, hey, I think if it's set back 10 feet instead of 8 feet or whatever it is from the property line, if the variance a little less, maybe it'd be less of a visual impact. There's all these, you can require additional buffering. There's all these things that you can require in variances to make them more palatable to the surrounding property owners. So I'll just put that out there. This is in no way trying to argue either way. That's not my job. I'm just giving you options of maybe things that you may want to consider before just basically this, leaving this applicant with essentially what will functionally be a denial.
Ms. Borgert, I think you make some good suggestions, and Mr. Wright and to the others, let me just throw out an idea that might or might not lead to a motion, is we could perhaps, there's an idea of maybe continue it to the end of the agenda, and perhaps strongly hint to the people in the audience that they go out in the lobby and talk about this, see if there's a way they can reach a consensus, and call it back up at the end of the meeting. If y'all think that's not worth time, it won't hurt my feelings.
I have no problem with that.
No problem.
Abstain from conversation.
Is there a motion to that end?
Can I ask staff?
Certainly, please.
Sorry, as a follow-up, if we motion to continue, motion to table, we can't come to an agreement here. There's a current code violation, correct? How does that affect the code violation as far as enforcement, or, are they going to start penalizing financially kind of stuff if we don't?
Well, so no, typically what happens, and Hillary, you can talk to this more, but typically what happens is if you have a code violation and the corrective is, hey, you have to come in and get a variance, if it's continued and you don't have a denial per se, then the code enforcement action is typically told during the time, and the planners, Hillary will communicate this with code enforcement, and then that'll get to the, special magistrate, and then she can continue to toll it, essentially.
I have no further questions, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Were you about to say something, sir?
Yes, so move to continue this to the end of the agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So what we've done is we've moved this to the bottom of the agenda, and if you and you would like to go to the lobby outside and talk about this and see if you can find a consensus, good. If you want to stand on your rights, that is your right. But we will make our minds up here in a little bit. This is item 5. There are 9 items. Act accordingly. It's up to you. So having said that, that's moved to the bottom of the agenda. We're now on to number 6. Done with that?
Yeah, no, please.
Item number 6 is a variance request for 2140 Chapman Woods Place, located within the Chapman Woods 5-acre development. The request is for an accessory structure maximum size variance from 1,795 square feet to 2,400 square feet in the A1 zoning district. The request is to construct a 2,400 square foot pole barn exceeding the maximum square footage of 1,795 square feet by 605 square feet. 4 letters of support have been received from the adjacent property owners. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Yes, sir. If you'd give us your name and address, please.
Yes, thank you. Matthew Veldhuis. I reside at 2140 Chapman Woods Place, Oviedo.
Please. Floor is yours.
Yeah, no additional comments.
Okay.
I appreciate the time.
Any questions for the applicant, gentlemen? Just real quick, to the east of your property, is that just a big old dry retention pond?
To the east, yes, that's the community behind us. There's a retention pond there, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
We're done. No questions.
Thank you.
That was easy. Anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Seeing none. Anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Mr. Wright. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Levant. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? See, it's easy sometimes. Enjoy. Number 7, please.
Good evening, Jalen Moreno, Planning and Development. Item number 7 is a variance request for 255 Fallen Palm Drive. The subject property is located in the Deer Run 8B subdivision and is within the Deer Run plan development. The request is for 1 an east side yard setback variance from 7 1/2 feet to 5 feet, and 2 a rear yard setback variance from 10 feet to 7 1/2 feet for a shed in the planned development. The proposed structure to be constructed will be 10 by 12 square feet. The applicant has applied for a building permit number 26001201, and at that time, it was determined that the setback variance will be required. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Anything you'd like to add, sir? Do you all have questions for the applicant?
No.
That was easy then. Shoot. Anyone here to speak in support of the matter? Seeing none, anyone here to speak in opposition? Your pleasure.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Mr. Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Levant. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Enjoy your shed, sir. Number 8.
Item number 8 is a variance request for...
Pole barn, whichever, yes. Sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Item number 8 is a variance request for 1236 Brittle Brook Drive. The subject property is located in the Deer Run Unit 7A subdivision and is within the Deer Run plan development. Their request is for a rear yard setback variance from 15 feet to 11 feet for a screen room in the PD plan development. The proposed screen room to be constructed will be 12 by 25 feet. The applicant applied for the appropriate building permit number 26003431, and at that time it was determined that the setback variance will be required. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions for staff? Is the applicant here? You'd come on up, sir, because I know at least I'll have one small question. Gentlemen, do you have any questions for the applicant? If you'd share with us your name and address, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Joseph Fort, representing from 1400 South Ronald Reagan Boulevard, Longwood, Florida, 32750.
You're the contractor for the applicant?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Just real quick for me, is this just going over the existing concrete pad that's out there?
Not fully, not the whole concrete pad,
Okay.
but a portion of it, all the way to the rear of the pad, but not left to right, all the way on it.
Gotcha. Perfect. And is there anything you'd like to add to what staff had shared?
The only thing that was not presented at the time was the HOA approval. If you needed to see it, I'd be more than happy to present it. If not, we do have the approval from HOA.
We don't even think about those guys.
Yes, sir.
And, all right, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your guys' time tonight.
Anyone in the audience to speak in support of the matter? Seeing none, anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Gentlemen.
Move to approve.
Mr. Levant has moved to approve, second by Mr. Wright. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, enjoy.
Thank you very much.
And number 9, and then we'll get to the continued ones.
Item number 9 is a variance request for 2180 Chapman Woods Place. The subject property is located in the Chapman Woods 5-acre development subdivision. The request is for an accessory structure size variance from 1092 square feet to 1920 square feet for a pole barn in the agricultural district. The request is to construct a 1920 square foot pole barn exceeding the maximum square foot of 1095 square feet by 825 square feet. We have received letters of support from the adjacent neighbors. The applicant applied for the appropriate building permit, number 26503, and at that time it was determined that a size variance will be required. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Come on down. If you'd share with us your name and address, please.
Susan Holtry and my husband Gene, 2180 Chapman Woods Place, Oviedo.
Anything you'd like to add to what staff had said?
No.
Gentlemen, questions for the applicant? Was there a traveling pole barn salesman in your neighborhood?
No, just good neighbors, like-minded neighbors.
I got you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience to speak in support of the matter? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the matter? Your pleasure, gentlemen.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved from Mr. Wright. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Levant. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right, those opposed? All right, enjoy. So let's move back to number 3, which is 125 Trinity Assembly Circle. Is the applicant here? Wow. I guess. Never showed up at all.
No, I don't think they were here to begin with.
Yeah, they were never here to begin with.
Oh, were they?
Yeah. Well, what is the board, the pleasure of the board? Should we continue this to next month or decide it on its merits?
Move to continue to next month.
We have a motion to continue from Mr. Levant. Is there a second?
Second.
A second, and to be more clear for the record, to continue to next month, you said, I just didn't repeat that. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll try again next month. Which then moves us to number 5, which is 1312 Via Villanova Way. And I think our friends might still be chatting.
Here we go.
And I will ask the applicant, please, you take your time now, but come on down to the podium, please. If you just share with us whether you and your neighbors have had a successful conversation.
I did actually with 2 of my neighbors. However, I'm a little hesitant to speak with the one on my east side because, he actually was very rude to me. Previously, he will approach my husband. Right. So I didn't want to.
So the answer is no?
No.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. Gentlemen, what would you like to do with this matter?
I think we've already voted on it.
No, we failed.
Oh,
We had a motion to approve and a motion to deny. So we can approve, we can deny, or we can continue to next month, which might be over the objection. Would you rather us decide tonight, or would you rather have another month to see if you can work something out?
It's up to you. It's up to the board.
Well, if you have a
Okay,
preference, I mean, we'll do what we want. We're just curious as to your preference.
Like I said, if it makes you feel better, we can, put that for the continuance. I don't know. I don't know how this works, to be honest with you. It's the first time.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, what do you think?
Well, if we give her another month, gives her a chance to communicate with that neighbor, and maybe he'll come back for the next meeting.
You were going to say something, Larry?
Well, I was just, whether I can ask staff at this point any questions?
Sure, yeah, please.
Looking at the exhibit that we have on the screen now, the residence to the left has multiple, looks like multiple buildings, basically what would I consider to be inside that setback that they're, the required setback for, I'm assuming that that lot is in the same zoning and has the same setbacks. I'm making that assumption. That's why I'm asking staff if that's correct. Are those buildings to the left in compliance with the setback?
That is correct. They would have the same setback. However, I will note that if the shed is less than 200 square feet, it only has a 10-foot rear yard setback as opposed to 25.
Which, you know, again, obviously we can't measure it here, but if I'm looking at that picture, there's two buildings there that look very much in close proximity to the applicant's shed.
You're an engineer, come on, you can't just stick
I'm
them in
not throwing them around there, you're gonna hold me to it. All I'm saying is that little corner shed in the very corner has its proximity to its rear property neighbor is very close to what this one is.
Agreed.
Was there ever I know at the beginning, I believe you said there was no variances in this area that were done.
I did not find any variances.
So my thoughts back to you gentlemen are, there's a living example that's not that far off from where we're at now.
Just
want to make a motion?
Well, again, I'm just throwing that out there, but yes, I mean, for purposes of that, I will make a motion again to approve, so.
All right, we have a motion to approve from Mr. Wright. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Levon. I'll call the vote, but first, does anybody want to share a thought that's new? All right, seeing none, we have a motion to approve, and it's been seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
I would say this has failed. I'm going to call this as a failed vote. I'm not going to ask for a motion to deny, because I think we'd be at the same impasse. So ma'am, I'm sorry, it has not been approved. If you want to appeal what we've done tonight, you can do that to the Board of County Commissioners. And when we're finally done tonight, staff can help you with any questions you have about that process.
Sure.
Okay. With that, the last thing on the agenda then would be the minutes, and the chair will entertain a motion.
Don't we have?
Thank you, sir.
She was the second one continued. The
Oh,
first
that's
one,
right.
the church, they
I'm
didn't
sorry,
show up.
the church.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking they're here.
Yeah. The Holy Spirit maybe, but. All right, we have, the chair will entertain a motion on the
Motion to
minutes.
approve.
A motion to approve the minutes. A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That is it, unless anything else y'all would like to chat about?
Nope.
All right, go Magic, good luck. Thank you all so much for coming tonight.
Are they playing tonight or they?